Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. Today, we're going to be talking about why can't we as sports fans be more rational? And I'll get into that coming up here in a few seconds. But first, let me say that I have another shout out coming up at the end of the video. So please stay tuned for that. And also don't forget tomorrow is Wednesday, which means another weekly top 10 countdown. So please stay tuned for that as well. But first, like I said a while ago, today we're going to be talking about why can't we as sports fans be more rational and logical. And when I say we, I don't mean every single sports person, because I know I'm not the only logical, rational sports fan there is. But the reason why I bring this up is because it happened again last week on Wednesday when we had the early signing day. We all know by now that the number one player in the country, according to some people, number two, according to some people, ended up on the day of early signing day, he chose Jackson State over Florida State. And people were up in arms about it. Now, I know if you're a sports fan, whether you watch baseball, basketball, football, hockey, soccer, whatever the sport is, you know somebody that never thinks level-headed about anything. Every time something happens that they can't explain or don't understand, instead of sitting back and giving themselves time to calm down and think about it logically, they just automatically jump off a cliff because they can't explain something, and we don't want to make ourselves look stupid by saying we can't explain it. So we just say the most illogical, irrational thing there is. And you can give a few examples. We all know those sports fans of whatever sport and whatever team that somebody likes. Every time their team loses, oh, that game was paid off. And when somebody says that, I walk away immediately because there's just no logic behind that. Just say, hey, my team got beat. Hey, we lost. Don't be stupid and say that game was paid off. There's no logic behind that. And it happened again last week because I mentioned in my Thursday video that supposedly there was $1.5 million involved, but I was talking about one of the name, image, likeness things because I had read an article that said that came into play, but I guess that article has since been removed because I can't find it. But somebody said he got paid by Barstool to go to Jackson State. Could that be possible? Yes. But if you sit back and calm down and actually read about Barstool and find out about it, the guy who created and started Barstool went to Michigan. He's a Michigan alum. So if you're going to pay a player to go to a school or pay a player to not go to a school, if you're a Michigan alum, why wouldn't you pay that player to go to Michigan instead of paying the player to go to Jackson State? And if anybody thinks Jackson State has more money than Florida State, you need right now to stop watching sports because you absolutely know nothing about sports. There's just no way Jackson State has more money than Florida State. It's not happening. Is it possible? Could it be possible that the kid who is a defensive back, I know in high school he's considered an athlete, but when he gets to college he's going to be a defensive back. Could it be possible? Is it not logical for the kid to choose to go play for a coach who was a defensive back? Because we know this day and time, football, whether it's college or NFL, and a lot of times high school now, football has turned into a passing game. It's a passing sport now. It's a passing league now. So if you're going to be a defensive back, more than likely it's going to be easy to find a job in the NFL if you're a defensive back, especially one that can cover, because it's hard to find one that can cover consistently. So if you want to be an NFL player as a defensive back, whether it's cornerback or safety, wouldn't it be logical to go play for a coach who is considered by almost everybody to be the best defensive back of all time? I mean, what's wrong with thinking like that? What's wrong with using our heads and realizing that he probably wanted to go play for a coach who played the same position that he plays so that he can learn from the guy who was the best at that position so that he has a long NFL career at that position? I mean, to me, that's not hard when you sit back and think about it. But we as sports fans, we see something like that and we're shocked by it. It's like, oh my God, there's got to be a reason for that. Yeah, there's a reason for it. He's a defensive back. He's going to play for a coach who was a defensive back. That to me is not hard to think about if you just sit back, get off the cliff, and let yourself think about stuff. So my question today is, why are we as sports fans just irrational and illogical about everything? We can't ever sit back and calm down and get back off the ledge and let stuff sink in and then actually think about the reason why it happened. We always got to think just to the far out as we can think about why it happened instead of thinking about the more logical reasons as to why stuff happens. And I know I'm not that way. My wife gives me a hard time all the time because I don't get all, fiery and wound up like some people do. But to me, it makes no sense, because when you do that, it makes you think about things irrationally. And then later on, you realize how stupid you looked. You realize how stupid you sounded. So to me, it just makes more sense just to be logical from the get-go. To me, it's okay to be a sports fan and still be logical. Just like these people who claim to be fans of a team, but yet whatever sport it is, that team's never going to lose a game. Well, that's not logical. Yeah, you want your team to win, but there ain't no team in the history of ever won every game they've played. So when you sit back every time your team plays, whether it's baseball, basketball, any sport, and every game they play they're going to win, that's stupid. That's not humanly possible. They're going to lose. And the other side of the spectrum, you have the fans of teams who claim they're fans of teams, but every time they play they're going to lose. Well, that's not going to happen either. Your team, no matter how bad they are in any sport, they're going to win. But you always have those fans of those teams, and every game they play, they're going to win. Every game they play, they're going to lose. You win a game, you're going to win the whole thing. You lose a game, you're not going to win a game. Well, none of that stuff is logical. None of that stuff is rational. So when I say, why can't we as sports fans be more logical, I don't mean every single sports fan in the world. I just mean those fans that are that way. And every sport has them. Every fan base has them. If you pull for a certain team in a certain sport, you've either heard them on the radio, or you've read articles about them, or you've gone to see your team in whatever sport it is, and you've sat around them and you thought, man, I hope the team I pull for doesn't have a bunch of fans this stupid, because every fan base has them. And every single time something happens you can't explain, you just say something stupid. Because you know when you say something stupid, it's going to get people talking, and they're not going to think about the fact that you didn't give an actual normal answer. You just gave some stupid answer. So when I'm around somebody that says illogical stuff, I just walk off. And then I might go back to them later and try to talk about it when they're, thinking more logically. So if you have any feedback on this, please feel free to let me know. If you have any feedback on the whole Florida State, Jackson State thing, please feel free to let me know. I just think it's the fact that, hey, the kid's a defensive back, and Deion Sanders played defensive back. He wants a long NFL career as a defensive back. So why wouldn't you play for a coach who was a defensive back? And according to most people, if not everybody, that follows football, they say Deion Sanders is the best defensive back of all time. So why wouldn't you go play for a coach who played the position that you're wanting to play in the NFL? To me, that makes sense. So could Barstool have been involved? Yes. But considering the guy who started Barstool went to Michigan, I would say more than likely that's probably not the case. How stupid would you look to be a Michigan alum, but you're going to pay a defensive back to go to Jackson State? There's no logical explanation for that whatsoever. My shout out today goes out to my man, Jamie. He subscribed to the channel yesterday. He lives in South Carolina, and he is a Clemson fan. Jamie, thank you so much for subscribing. Give the video a thumbs up. Tell your friends. Tell your family. And if you do so choose to comment on any video at any time, you will be eligible for our 1,000 subscriber giveaway when we get to 1,000 subscribers. Hope everybody likes my Atlanta Braves flag that you see over my right shoulder. I bought it in the mountains over the weekend to put into my studio. I'm going to try my best over time to make this a complete sports-related room. So I bought that myself to put it inside this studio. I know all the Braves fans that watch this video that see that flag will certainly enjoy it. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. How do you wash your hands during the holidays? With sanitizer. And that wraps it up for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.